Yeah, no, what I was gonna say was, the 30-minute Zoom. I don't. How can you have a conversation in 30 minutes or less? I mean, I know people do it, and I give them
Well, not
credit.
with us anyway.
Well, it's just, what, I've done those before. When I used to have some journalists from One American News on, this is a long time ago, and they would say, oh, 20 minutes. 20, I'm like, 20 minutes? You can't even get in anything in 20 minutes.
Yeah, but if you go talk to the BBC or Fox, they'll say, "Here's a really, really complicated thing," and you say, "I agree." Right, that's you. Go, you go now.
Yeah, for 4 minutes. And it's like those congressional hearings, too, right? Those are always 4 or 5 minute, just sound bites, clickbait.
Yeah. Your time is up. Oh,
Yeah, and how can you can't get into like any type of meaningful discussion in under. I mean, I don't know. People that do it better than me, then they got it more figured out. But I don't know how you can do something in 20 minutes, 20
Do you want a
25 minutes.
secret? Do you want a secret, Michael?
Yeah, please.
Do you I did. Must have done 1,000 CNBCs and the likes. Okay, and the first thing I learned is nobody's got the sound on. Okay, no one's got the sound on the television. The sound's not on. Although what? So all you need is a bright tie, crazy hair, and a big smile. And they see, Clem Chambers of a new FN, and they go, oh, a little bit of branding there. Oh, he looks happy. Oh, it must be good.
Well, and
Yeah,
your name itself is branding, right? Because it's so unique. Clem Chambers. I
yeah,
mean, that's like
exactly.
it's
Well,
like a
mine is, but they haven't got the sound on. They can't hear what I'm saying. And so it's that now it's what they call the two screens. So not only is the sound not on, they're not looking at it. And I did this 1,000 CNBCs. I maybe got two funny looks in 10 years. And as soon as I started doing YouTube, people start saying, "You're the guy on YouTube, aren't you?" "Oh, yeah, I watched you on Kitco," or whatever. So they're watching this stuff, which means it has 100 times, 1,000 times more impact than television. Nobody watches television. It's a scam.
Yeah, we were talking about. I know we're going to get into the markets and stuff, but I've talked to other people about this lately. Is television and cable TV and the networks and where do they go from here? And even we were movie theaters, right? Like
Well,
Hollywood.
I'll tell you where they go. They go,
This episode is brought to you by Vaulted, launched by McIlvaney Financial Group. The simplest and most affordable way to own physical gold and silver. Physical gold is the only asset outside of the control of the government and banking system. They can print dollars, but they can't print gold. Click on the promo link in the show notes or go to vaulted.blbvux.net/coffee and a mic.
yeah. I mean, if you look at television as it was, say, 25 years ago, before the advent of HBO, it was absolute rubbish. And then these select channels came up and started producing really good shows, very rude shows, very extreme shows. I'm thinking about things before The Sopranos, but that's a good example. Ultra violence, ultra, extreme stuff, but well written. And now the actual because in the old days, a movie would have terrible dialogue, but great shots, right? These days, the dialogue's fantastic. And they put awful, I mean, Game of Thrones and stuff like that, massive amounts of effort into making anybody care to watch. And they make it extreme and horribly violent and vicious and everything that your monkey could dream of, right? They try really hard, but it's still going that away and it'll go away and it'll be online, right?
Do you know
And
it?
cinemas, well, they'll have to make it more than just sitting in a dirty seat watching a big screen.
Yeah, you know what? You said before Sopranos. You know what I grew up. I wasn't supposed to be watching, but I did. Was Dream On and Tales from the Crypt. Do you remember those shows?
I haven't had a television since 1992.
Those shows were out probably right around that or before.
Well, I wasn't in your country either,
Oh,
so
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
both things, and also I didn't watch it because I was busy, working, and but yeah, so I disconnected from television. I was the first cord. I never even had a cord. I never even learned how to program the VCR because I was so busy,
and to this day,
and then I never had a TV after that.
and
So
to this day, you still don't have one.
don't have one, man. Don't watch anything. If I watch television, I get post-traumatic stress because I've so detached from it, so detached from the violence and the ugliness of what television is, that I can't bear the smell of it. It's just like it's so violent. It's ultra violence. And if with anybody with a television has been so numb, it gets so numb to it. Oh, someone just had his head blown off. Oh, somebody just got shot and there's blood all over the floor. Oh, that's just, how many of them in a night on television? Like six. Yeah. And I'm totally desensitized. I see that, I'll have nightmares.
Do you feel the same about, so do you watch movies at all anymore?
Well, yeah, no, not for actually quite a few years. I think the last movie I saw, it has to be a sensible movie about a grown-up sensible movie, really. So the last couple of movies I saw that are any good was Rush. That was a good movie, and that was Howard. That was good. Stuff like that, something that's reality, or near enough to reality and sensible and about real people and real situations. But all the horse shit that's out there, no, I can't do it. My brain doesn't go, what is this? I don't understand. When I left watching television, I saw some television about 5 years later, and it was a comedy show, and it wasn't funny because I'd lost the vocabulary. I'd lost the way that comedy had morphed over that 5 years. So it wasn't funny anymore because I wasn't in on the joke. I hadn't been watching the joke develop over the last 5 years. So it just wasn't funny. What's funny about that? Why is that funny? I don't know. Don't get it. I'd lost the vocabulary.
Yeah, with the whole entertainment and just where it's going, and even, segueing into like retail and brick and mortar, and just how it's all changing so fast. And I mean, and even just, Netflix, I was talking to my friend Vince Lancy about this. Like Netflix used to be, it was the delivery, right, of the DVDs. They deliver them right to your door, and then the streaming. And now they're I think, I don't know if it's done yet, but they're about to buy HBO. They're producing their own content. And it's just like,
I think they're about to buy MGM, aren't they, or somebody like
or
that?
Warner Brothers, excuse me. Not, I said HBO, Warner Brothers, which HBO's in Warner Brothers.
There you go.
So they go from delivering the content, now they're buying the content.
And now they're owning it. Yeah. Content has never been king. It is on you. Well, even on YouTube it isn't, because YouTube rations you. It rations you, it rations the viewer, and it rations the advertiser, because that is the optimal for their business, is to not give people what they want, but give them what they want them to want and what they need them to want. So, they ration the viewer. They don't give the viewer what he wants. They give the viewer what is optimal for YouTube to give them. They give the advertiser the optimum amount of viewers to minimize their return, but maximize to get over the level that they'll keep doing it. They won't give them 5 for 1. They'll give them 1.5 for 1. Yeah. And the content provider, well, they'll say you're going to have that much, which is why the moment you put your YouTube video in, you'll see that it's going to pass up that gray band, because they've already decided how much you're going to get. And if you break that because of some magic that you've done, they'll cut you off. They'll go whoosh, and they'll stop it. They say, no, it's too much. Bang, throttle that back, because you're being rationed, the advertiser's being rationed, and the viewer's being rationed for YouTube / Google's optimum revenue.
So that's what it comes down to then. I mean, I've had some months where, like, the amount of view counts was so much higher, and then it just...
Yeah. Like, he's got too much. He's had too much. No. Turn that down.
And they do that because... Explain that to me again. Like I'm 5. Why do they do that?
Okay, right. So okay, like you're 5. So Daddy wants to make sure he makes optimum money, right? So there's 3 people involved in his business. There's the content provider. So I ration him with the audience to what is optimal to me to make money. If he's brilliant and he runs away, I won't make money, because the advertisers won't all want to advertise with him, because he tells giraffe jokes. And there's only so many advertisers that want giraffe jokes. But he's dominating me because everybody loves him. So I will cut him down to where he's optimal for me and my advertisers. Okay? So I deal with him. I will ration him with a ration of optimal traffic. Now, the advertiser, I know what he is prepared to pay because I make him tell me. I make him fill out a form that says this is my cost of acquisition, and I measure that cost of acquisition because I got a pixel on his payment page. And if he doesn't put the picture, he doesn't put that pixel on, I won't give him as much traffic as he'd get if he bows down to me. And when he bows down to me, I know exactly what his cost of acquisition is. And so I can ration him with the viewers that he's going to get because he's prepared to pay two and he's prepared to pay one or one and a half, and that's all he's going to get. And if he's not prepared to pay two or one and a half to get two, he won't get anything. Yeah, because I control the viewer and I know all about the viewer. And the viewer, I give him what is optimal for me to maximize my revenue from the advertiser and minimize my spend with the content provider. So I optimize the content provider, the viewer, and the advertiser because I've got mathematical geniuses and I've got all the data. You see? Now, it's an algo that's doing it all the time, and it comes around and checks you out and looks at your history and every month makes sure everything's fine. You can't do it all the time. They haven't got enough computers for that. So they just come by and they say, right, we have decided, boom. So when you switch it on, has a quick look and says, yeah, okay, right, off we go. Give him that, give him that, give him that, give him that. He's had enough now. Yeah, which is why your traffic goes bang, zoop. It doesn't go bang or bang. It goes bang, zoop, like a knife. Zoop. Yeah, because they're giving you your allocation. And their algo is handing, oh yeah, one for you, show it to him, da, da, da. Optimal. Yeah. So you go gold. Do you want an ounce of gold? Click here, and your traffic goes up like that. It will go, no. Stop that. And you've had that before, right? When you've got something and it goes mad. And you go, yes. Oh, what's it stopped?
I'm there. I've hit it. I've hit a new milestone. Now I have a new floor. It won't go below this threshold.
Yeah. And it stopped. And then at a quarter, all of a sudden, your traffic will change. Because they go, yeah. Algo says we should give him some more. Or Algo says, fuck those gold guys. We don't want anything to do with these gold guys. No. That's bad for us. Get rid of the gold guys. They all go. The whole fucking channel goes. And that's what happened with the treasure hunters. The treasure hunters were doing great. And YouTube said, no, we don't like that as a section. No. Get rid of that. And they killed all the treasure hunters. All the treasure hunters were doing great. And then they just killed them all.
What were the treasure hunters? I don't know what the treasure hunters were.
Well, treasure hunters, people that hunt treasure. It was a whole category of people going around looking for, lost things with metal detectors.
And they killed
them?
And
it was, yeah, you can look them up. You'll probably bump into me because I used to have a treasure hunting channel. And that's how I kind of learned this game. And it was great. They were really, really successful. And then suddenly, overnight, treasure hunting just, wasn't getting any traffic anymore. None of them.
I mean, there's nothing. It's not like there's anything vulgar or political or.
What, men in camo with things that look like guns, looking for plunder, maybe. How many countries is treasure hunting illegal? Like about most of them. And then white male patriarchs in camo, looking rather like gun people.
Do you think some of the bigger, like say the Joe Rogan or Tucker, these big platforms, can they override these algorithms?
Well, that's why they go over to people like Spotify, don't they? Because they feel it coming, right? All they got to do is say boo to all they got to do is say Epstein, and suddenly, boom, they got no traffic. I mean, that's what happened to that guy, the English guy, Patrick Boyle. He said Epstein, and they demonetized him, and then he made a fuss, and they remonetized him.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing about all this. First of all, in Rumble, that channel in of itself. I mean, I don't even know if I believe any of these numbers. I mean, how do you know if they're accurate between YouTube and Rumble? And I don't know.
What you mean people lying about their numbers? I mean, no, surely not. Surely not. Could never happen. I mean, I looked at Rumble and it was just so putrid that I just couldn't bear to put my stuff up on it, to be honest.
Yeah,
and I know it's not traffic. And so I didn't bother. Anyway, let's on with the show, or is this the show? Are we
No, this is
talking
part.
about-
This was part of the show, but
Oh, we get ourselves cut off from YouTube.
what is at the top of your? What is it? I was going to do the video game thing for a minute, but we can table that maybe to the end. What is the top of your mind right now, Clem?
Well, the top of my mind is, because I've got so much precious metals, is whether this is the whole way or halfway. And it's settling down and it's doing what I'm expecting it to do, which is, gold is still in the chair and silver has, been checked. It's been put in its place. And if gold goes on another run, once this volatility shrinks, if gold goes on another run, then we'll be in another circuit. And I think it will. I think it will. What has changed, and I believe it's probably already in the price and probably maybe something to do with what we've just seen, is that the big driver in my book is America versus China. Okay, Donald Trump, make America great again, which means keep America as the number one power. Okay, that's how I see it. I don't think anybody would say that Donald Trump wants to make America second to China. In fact, everything they're doing is trying to keep the primacy of the US, one way or the other. And some people talk about the dollar, but it's not about that. It's about America being the superpower, the one and only superpower, or bigger and better, so much so than anybody else, like it has been since World War II, that it is the big 800-pound gorilla. Well, it's not the 800-pound gorilla anymore. It might not even be the number one anymore. In fact, I would say, you can make a good argument that America is no longer the number one. Yeah, it's 350 million people, and it's roughly the same sort of GDP as China. China's growing way faster than America, and it's got a bigger population, and it makes all the stuff. I mean, in the old days, Britain is the workshop of the world, and that was when it was the number one country and the biggest superpower, blah, blah, blah. And then America became the workshop of the world, and it became the superpower. Well, it ain't the workshop of the world anymore. China is. So you can make a good argument. Let's just say neck and neck. Okay, so America is neck and neck with China, but China makes all of America's 10-inch nails, and America just puts the points on them and flattens the top. Yeah, so who's number one? When America does no longer make 10-inch nails, it imports the nails in from China and then puts a sharp point on one end, a flat end on the other. Doesn't make ships anymore. Not many, and it makes a few battleships, and then doesn't do a great job of that either. Rare earth, up until President Trump went ballistic, didn't make any of it. Couldn't make any of it. Had a mine that keep going bust because the Chinese keep knocking it out. So you could say in the trade war, China was winning that. Yeah. And if you look at it, hey, Elon, yay, you do Tesla. Isn't Tesla great? And it's no longer the biggest electric car maker in the world. Yeah. Oh, and you're going to make robots? Yeah. Well, I'm seeing a lot of videos of Chinese robots that seem to be kind of like a little bit more advanced than your Optimus. It's not like, the world's thinking about catching up. It's not like SpaceX where nobody else can do it. It seems that maybe China's going to do it better already. So, there's a sort of neck and neck thing going on here. Well, that is what gold's all about. Because gold is for conflict. There we are, I'm being kind. But the thing that's been driving this conflict, the thing that makes precious metals go through the roof, which is what they have, gold is for war. But, what starts that? Well, Taiwan. Taiwan starts that, and I keep saying over and over again, you can go do your due diligence and check that this is not a load of old toffee. Yeah, that she made a speech, several speeches that said, People's Liberation Army, be ready 2027. That's next year. Be ready. Be ready for what? For the Olympics? For a football match? For a big, celebration of being happy? No, be ready to reunite Taiwan. And that would be April or May. However, just last week or so, there appears to be a big political punch-up between President Xi and the PLA. And he's kicked out a couple of the top generals. And the Taiwanese are whispering that there was an attempted coup. Well, why would that be all about? Well, it'd be all about the fact that maybe the PLA doesn't want to lose 2 million men climbing up the cliffs in Taiwan. Yeah, because they've got 500,000 soldiers in Taiwan, are armed to the teeth, kind of ready for it. And to get, over 500,000 defenders, which is roughly speaking what they've got, you need 2 million people, 2 million soldiers. If I was a general, I'd be going, and, he said, you're going to be ready next year, a couple of years ago. And maybe I said, yeah, boss, yeah, sure. Oh, no, it's getting closer. Maybe we don't have enough ships, sir. Maybe we're shortage of helmets. And how, yes, we're working out how to get up those cliffs, and we've got a good idea, but it's going to be a bit of time. It won't be next year. It'll be, sometime in the future. And, the president's gone, you're fired. Or as they do in China, you're arrested for corruption. Yeah. So that has probably put back the date. So maybe it's now, you're going to be ready by 2028 now, which of course, is a little bit of a suppression on precious metals, but it's a delay, not a cancellation, or we don't know. If it was a cancellation, I think you'd see gold go like that. But a delay's a delay. And what should happen is once we've got past this lumpy, bumpy bit, which we've been having, is the volatility will shrink, and it's already shrinking by the looks of it, and then it will decide which way it's going. Yeah. And I think it will be up. And once the volatility vanishes and the direction is established, you can be sure one way or the other which way it's going to trend quite a long way. Yeah, I mean, it could be a long way down, which I don't think, or quite a long way up. $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 for gold. And then, of course, if gold goes on that journey, then silver will do its fast horse trick again and go running. And where that will go, who knows? So at the moment, it's in equilibrium, it's in balance. And what is going on behind the scenes, which we can't tell because we don't work for the CIA and we don't work in the central halls of government in China and various other places, but you can see it in the price, because pretty much within a day or two, or even with hours, depending on which market you're in, what goes on, what decisions have been made will be in the price. So gold is the thermometer of this conflict. And if they all decide to be, sensible, gold will go down like a brick. And if they carry on being, there's AI and there's NS, and there's a lot of NS out there. And you might want to ask what NS is, and it is natural stupidity. And that raising of natural stupidity we're seeing in the world rises the price of gold. Yeah, international global tension, which is about the most stupid thing imaginable, really. That is what drives gold, and the thermometer of that behavior is automatically and smoothly injected into the price of gold. And that level of stupidity has gone up a lot, and that's why gold has gone up a lot. And if you believe it's going to continue to go up, then gold will continue to go up. If like me, you hope that sanity will suddenly break out, hope is not a strategy. But anyway, then if it does happen, whatever the price of gold was before sanity broke out will be the high. But there's no sign of it out there right now, is there?
Is this the highest you've ever seen the natural stupidity level in all your years of covering this?
Yeah, I think so. Because, it was pretty dumb in the 70s. I mean, the 70s was a dumb decade. I mean, it might have been fun for old people like me when they were young and the world was fresh. But actually, the level of stupidity pre-Reagan in America and pre-Thatcher in Britain was absolutely claustrophobic. I mean, most of British industry was owned by the government and run by muppets. And I seem to recall that there was quite a large amount of muppetry in the US in the 70s. And, it kind of came to an end, didn't it, with Ronald Reagan, and that turned into the fall of communism and the Soviet Union. And then the Muppets regenerated. And here we are again. It's the Muppet cycle.
When did the Muppet cycle start, in your opinion, Clem?
Oh, pretty much soon after Reagan left. I mean, George Bush was sensible. Clinton was pretty damn good. but then it kind of, there was in the UK, it was already decaying. They were already rolling back the sensible stuff, and putting in. I mean, a good example in the UK, there was this mayor system in the UK called the General London Council. I think that's what it's called, GLC, and it was the biggest bunch of box of frogs imaginable, and it totally ran London terribly, and it was all rubbish, and everyone was on strike, and it was just a disaster area. And Thatcher came in and sacked them all, just shut it all down. They just shut the whole thing down and said, "We're not doing that anymore, bugger off." And that was it. It was gone. And hallelujah, everything sorted itself out. And then they brought it back about 7 or 8 years later. And I think it was even the Tories that did it. Even the right wing, the Uni Party brought it back. And now it's a box of frogs again of craziness. And London didn't need it. It did not need it at all. And it did without it, and all the costs that went along with it, and all the taxes that went along with it, and all the nonsense that went along with it. It got on without it. And they came back and said, "Oh, let's have it back again, shall we?" Or something similar. It's like, you couldn't make it up. But that's what they did. And that's the sort of thing that happened. And, I think that most people would consider that what goes on in the US has become, pretty dysfunctional. I mean, I remember when the cost of American healthcare was pretty much the same as the cost of British healthcare. It was just you paid it in a different way. Well, now that's not the case anymore. American healthcare costs have just gone ballistic. And I mean, you can't even cut your knee and go to hospital without getting a bill for 50 grand. And, it's like, I mean, can anybody actually justify it? I don't think anybody can justify. Can they justify it? But there it is. There it is. I mean, a friend of mine with health insurance collapsed on the beach, got taken to hospital. They, slapped him about a bit. He came around, went home again. He got a 5 grand bill just to run him to hospital and back, and he was insured. I mean, how mad is that? That's totally mad, right? So all this insanity, well, it's not the population's fault, is it? It's the politicians' fault. And America has had a dysfunctional governance system. And does anybody disagree with that? Is anybody going to stand up in your audience and say, America's got a great governance system? It's amazing. It's fantastic. Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, what are you talking about? No, they're going to say, yeah. Ooh. And it's maybe it's a cyclical low. Maybe it's going to go lower. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you look at the history of governance, boy, it can get pretty wild out there in terms of bad governance. And what's going to turn it around? I don't see it. I don't see anything turning it around. The only thing that might turn it around is AI. And, NS versus AI, I think, is the biggest of all themes. With a bit of luck, AI will save us, because, boy, NS is going to send us to that away, send us home pretty quick if things carry on developing like this.
Yeah, you actually, our last conversation that we had back in August, and I had a guy on last week. He's 27 years old, and I'll tell you, there was a lot of parallels, different but parallels, because he provided me a lot of optimism, and just in terms of like, not thinking the world was going to collapse. And I felt the same thing when I spoke to you back in August.
Yeah.
Because you have this, and I've fallen into this trap before. I don't know if you have, but I listen to experts, especially when I was newer into this, and like, oh, there's going to be civil war, Mad Max on the streets, Red Dawn, yada yada yada. I don't think that anymore. I think we're going to wake up tomorrow. I think there's the sky is not going to fall, and I think there is going to be opportunity for people. There's always opportunity, right? Even through the worst of times, people do come out ahead. But in your view, how would you turn this around, or even, maybe if you can't turn it around, but what is the best thing to do moving forward?
You see, I think we're going to have a massive economic boom because of AI. And it's going to be inflationary. It's going to be quite a lot of inflation. It's not going to be runaway. It's not going to be South American, but you can be looking at 5 to 7% into further notice when it kicks off. Yeah. And, the point is, there's young people out there apart from the ones that lock themselves into their basements and have got agoraphobia, digital agoraphobia, they're out there. The young people, they're doing their thing. They're going down the beach. They're sitting around a fire cooking chicken. They're doing what the young people did, listening to terrible music and enjoying it, and having fun and all the things that we got up to when we were young, thinking what low old fogies we are, which we are, and life goes on. And I do think that the Muppet cycle will run its course. Yeah. And I do think that everybody, particularly in America and in Europe and in the freer countries, are working really, really hard to have a good outcome. And shows like this put forward a lot of experts that are worrying their face off. Okay. And everybody's worried, but they're trying to work towards the bad thing not happening in the main. And in the main, it doesn't happen, particularly if people have an input into the process, because the hive mind is much smarter than an elite group of people that are a little bit cut off from reality. Yeah. So, that's the whole point of democracy. Well, and regicide, of course. So, democracy kicks out all these people on a regular basis and replaces them with fresh ones, and the fresh ones stick around too long and go mad and get rubbish, and they get kicked out. And it's a cycle. And at the moment, I think we're in this era where people haven't adapted to social media, basically, to the internet, and they haven't adapted to understand, haven't adapted to the fact that they need their critical function switched full on all the time. I mean, we all do. I mean, when you go onto Twitter, how many times you see something, go, oh, that's an interesting video, and then you go, oh, it's AI, for example. Yeah. So over the years, and it's already starting, people will get higher critical facilities, will adapt and make their own mind up for things more. Yeah. And they will be elevated, and that will bring around very positive change. And yeah, there's plenty of stupid out there, but this is an environment which gives people the opportunity to elevate themselves. There's never been more information, good information, available at the click of a button. So I personally think, well, first of all, old people always say young people are rubbish, and I think the young people are just as brilliant as they've always been, and I think there'll be a lot more brilliant young people coming down the pike because of the facilities that the media offers for learning. So there'll be a cohort of super brilliant young people, and you're already starting to see them, but there'll be an absolute deluge of super brilliant children who will be educated with AI, because AI, you can absolutely telescope learning into a few weeks, which might take you a few years if you're at school. Yeah. So there will be this cohort of super smart, super educated young people, 10, 15% of all of them, rather than 1%, that will blow the lid off of so many things, that we will get a new epoch coming. Now, of course, the old guard, the NS, the NS generation could push us over into the Holocaust, but I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen, and people are very worried about that, quite rightly, and they're very worried about their money, and they're very worried about their livelihoods, and that's a good thing, but not to be obsessed and believe that the dollar's going to die and that the economy is going to crash and everyone's going to be made unemployed, all that stuff. That is not going to happen. However, if you think about making sure that you are financially provided for, never been a better time. There's never been more opportunity. If you're on what we say in England, the front foot, which is a cricketing term for being in an aggressive stance, not too aggressive, but forward-looking stance, then there's never been a better time to build up wealth. If you go on the back foot, on the defensive, you will get left high and dry. And that is the catastrophic move to make, to go on the defensive and imagine it's all going to come to an end and find a rock and climb under it. And there's plenty of people doing that. And that's absolutely the wrong way to go. You've got to get out there. You've got to be proactive. You've got to be looking at places to put your money. You've got to be looking how to work your money. You've got to be looking for sensible investments. Wherever you look at them. I mean, I just did a YouTube about PayPal. which I think is absolute. Everybody hates PayPal and says it's a rubbish company, and I think it's an absolute. It's paying a 1.6% dividend, it's got a 7 PE. I mean, read a book on value investment and then get back to me, right? So there's so many opportunities for people who can skill up out there in this environment to make serious money. I mean, anybody that bought silver at $30 has made serious money. Yeah. And, if you're properly equipped to get in at the bottom and out at the top, not in at the bottom and out of the bottom, not in at the top and out of the bottom, if you skill yourself up and are careful and diligent, there's never been a better time to build up wealth.
Well, and so, in relation to AI, what do you say when people will come back to you and be like, okay, AI, they think digital control or, CBDC, and this is where it's all going to go, and you got to be careful what you wish for. And
okay, first of all, don't be egotistical. Don't think you're the center of the world. Don't think anybody gives a monkeys about what you do. Nobody cares about you. Government don't care about what you do. Read 1984, right? In 1984, nobody cares about the proletariat. It's about controlling people who control the system. It's all about the people in the system, in the government, all the bureaucrats. They're the ones that get the trouble. They're the ones that end up upside down in a dustbin. They're the ones that get the hassle. The proletariat, they get left alone to drink and run around screaming. They don't care about the proletariat. They don't care about you. They really don't. You might think they do, but they don't. They care about, somebody that's in the department around the corner that might be taking their job or whatever, or causing them trouble. The internecine-ness of government doesn't affect the peasants like us. Just remember, we're peasants. Even if we're rich, we're probably still peasants. If we're not playing the political game, nobody cares about us. We're just noise. Yeah, so don't worry about that. CDCs, have you got so much money anybody cares? No, you haven't, have you? Yeah. Oh, you've got 100 million, people might start to pay attention. But if you've got 500,000 or 1 million or even a couple of million, nobody cares. You're noise. You're just dust. Yeah. So the good thing is to get into some sort of perspective. Yeah. All right, a cop might pull you over if you're breaking the speed limit by 20 miles an hour. But, there's nothing. It's not relevant. So don't worry about CDCs and don't worry about AI tracking you. No, nobody cares. The government's not going to bother you. I mean, yeah, a load of, scammers in Mumbai might care about you, or North Koreans might want to try to steal your crypto wallet. But, nobody cares. That's the one thing. If one thing that President Trump's going to teach you is that nobody cares. He does all these, he says all these incredible things. I mean, I was in, what? You can't say that. And does all these incredible things. What? You can't do that. Nobody cares. Even if the president of America does it, it's forgotten. When was the last time he said something outrageous to somebody yesterday, right? They won't remember that in a week. If anything teaches you something from what he said. Remember when he said something and a journalist at the very beginning of his first term said, but you said this and this and this. He said, no, I didn't. It's fake news. But he was on video saying it. And he just says, no, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. No. And nobody cared. Nobody held him to account. He didn't have to resign. He just said, don't care. And, that should be a sobering lesson that the most important man in the world can stare reality in the face and say it doesn't exist and get away with it. Yeah. So I'm not suggesting that you try to get away with that. But when it comes to all these little details, they're going to control me. They can't be bothered to control you. They don't want to control you. There's no value in controlling you. They already do. You already hand over half your money that you earn to them. Why would they bother with any more of it?
Yeah, and I mean, the tax system in America is enough to where they have they have control of you, right? I mean,
you don't pay your property tax to take your house. Yeah. It's already happened. Yeah. It's already happened, and there's nothing you can do about it. And why bother? Just make your money. If you make enough money, you can have your house in Chile. You can have your private airplane at the airport, and the rules don't apply to you because you can just get up and go. Yeah. I mean, the way if you're smart, 25% of your money in productive assets, 25% in equities, 25% in precious metals, and 25% abroad. Well, you can take your precious metals abroad too, right? So, it if you ain't got no money, you are attached to the land like any serf, but it's just not called that anymore. But you are. You can't go. You're stuck. And you have to pay the tax because you just have to. You're there. There you are. You have to build up sufficient financial resources that you become geographically independent or mobile. Well, how are you going to do that? Well, you're not going to do it from your job, are you? Yeah. It's the markets that will give you that. And you can skill yourself up with that. You can buy all the sensible books. You can listen to all the sensible people, and you can play that game properly, and you can become financially independent. Well, financially independent means you break out of that system if you so want to. Yeah. But I mean, most people, they're very happy with their lot. Why would they be unhappy with their lot? It's fine. They've got the kids, they've got the house, they've got the job, they've got the thing that they do on Saturday and the Sunday, they've got the TV. It's pretty fine, isn't it? Yeah. The thing about the worldwide is that the W shouldn't be web. It should be wine. It's the worldwide wine. Everybody's on the internet going, wine, wine, wine. It's not fair, mummy. He hit me. Oh, he got a bailout and I didn't get one. Oh, it's not fair. Don't listen to that. Don't listen to that. The worldwide whinge. No, don't listen to that. Everybody's whinging. Go to X. Whinge, 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 whinge. It's not fair. Oh, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. Oh, it's not fair. I want one of them. Oh, that's not right. Oh, wine, whinge, wine. www.
Do you feel
listen to it?
Do you feel the same about the UK as the United States in terms of?
I think we invented it. I mean, the Australians used to call us whinging poms. You know, bloody whinging poms. Yeah. Oh no. You know, forget the whinging. Get on the front foot. You know, pick the good stuff. And you know, the trouble is, and it must be said, that people gravitate towards bad news. Right, they gravitate towards the unpleasantness, the nastiness, because you know it's natural, but it's bad for you. It's bad for your mental health. It's bad for your outlook. It's bad for your income ability to make income. It's just really bad. Yeah, if you're going to escape, it's a trap. Yeah, and I don't know anybody that sat there quivering about the end of the world that makes any money. It's not profitable. Yeah, it goes to the brave. Yeah, spoils go to the brave. And you just got to get out there and you've got to work hard, skill yourself up and grind away at it. I mean, I remember a long time ago, I was wiped out by a series of unfortunate circumstances. And I had a clean sheet of paper and I started from scratch. In 3 years, I'd made a fortune. And it occurred to me then, it only takes 3 years to get from where you are to anywhere you want to be. Yeah. But you've got to be on your way. You've got to set off. Yeah. And, you know, you will not set off if you just worry about everything. And the anxiety that the internet lays on people is an absolute curse. And, you know, you've got to fight that, or at least acknowledge to yourself that that is something that's bad and is avoidable. And that when you see it, you know, don't get hypnotized by the snake. Just, you know, look away and move on. There's so much opportunity. This is just the land of opportunity right now. And you wouldn't know it, would you? You wouldn't know it. If you went on the internet, you would think the world has come off its tracks and the wheels, it's just about to fly off that bridge and into the ravine below. And it could, but it's not going to.
Do you think that what you've just described, is it worse now than say the 70s in terms of that, of people feeling like the sky is going to fall? Or are you saying you've seen this movie before?
I would say it's like the difference between watching a John Wayne movie and watching a Sam Peckinpah movie, if anybody knows their cinema, or a Tarantino movie. Yeah. You know, when I was young, it was the same story, but it didn't have the ultra violence. Yeah. I mean, it's if you go around all these channels, you'll see doomsters. Yeah. They never change their tune. Yeah. It's always going to be the death of the dollar. And I remember people saying that in the 70s. Well, he hasn't died yet. And in fact, the dollar is high. They say, oh, the dollar's lost 99% of its value since 1900. Well, that's 120 years ago. I don't plan to be around in 120 years' time. Well, I would like to be. But if my dollar's going to lose 99% of its value in the next 120 years, I'll buy that if I'm around in 120 years. Yeah. Yes, it's gone, a dollar is worth 25 cents from 1982. But then on the other hand, I'm making 5 or 6 times the money. In fact, I'm making a damn sight more. But you know what I'm saying. Yeah. It's pretty blooming good life at the moment. And I'm lucky. My life is pretty good. But most people's lives, most people watching this will be living in a nice house, they'll have a nice car, and the sun will come up and it'll be a nice day, unless they're in Canada. And they are actually having a great life, but they're worried to death and anxious by what's coming through their screens and their television. If they switched it off and never switched it on again, and just, I don't know, took up macrame or gardening or whatever, they'd cheer up no end. I mean, can you go home and not switch on that television? Nope. And what do you see coming through it? Just write down a piece of paper. What did you see? Oh, somebody got murdered. They got shot in the head and they bled everywhere. Oh, that's good. And then I saw the news. All the most terrible things that have happened in the world of 8,000 million people delivered to my door on a big TV that wide. And I got to see all the details of all this misery. Of all the 8 billion people that live today, I got to see the worst 25 minutes of the whole of the globe. Yeah. And then there was a show and it involved criminals and they were hurting each other. Oh, okay. And then what happened next? It's like, but you can't not switch that on.
Yeah. And also,
how's that good for you?
No, not at all.
How is that good for you?
Well, and I've also found myself saying, in talking to some friends, not some on the recording, but offline, is like, okay, economic markets, things do crash. People do lose things, but sure. Also people get things back too.
If you switched off your television and never watched it for the next 6 months and just read all the books, all the good books on finance, at the end of that 6 months, you would be set up to make a lot of money. And, so rather than watch television, you went on to, I don't know, some financial websites like mine, and you just studied for 6 months. You didn't watch any television news, which doesn't really give you much of that anyway. Didn't watch any, murder mysteries or any crime or just nothing at all, but off. Yeah. It would change your life. Well, for a start, your wife would leave you, but outside of that, yeah. And kids would leave you, so it'd improve, right? So outside of that, and you just studied finance, you'd be an expert. You'd be an absolute expert. Absolute expert. You'd have memorized the whole S&P 500. Yeah. Is anybody going to do that? No.
Give me one book, Clem, because I know people are like, "Oh, you didn't even ask him what kind of books. What a book title."
Well, I mean, you can just go onto Amazon and type in the classic investment books. Intelligent Investor. There's probably about 12 books about Warren Buffett. I mean, there's at least 12 books on Warren Buffett that say what Warren Buffett does, and Warren Buffett's been doing it for the best part of 3 centuries, and it turned him into the richest man on earth. And he's, well, for a time, been to some other people who took over, but one of the top 10 richest men on earth by investing in a totally understandable mechanical way. And in fact, you can even go on to some website and go, tell me what's in Warren Buffett's portfolio. There it is. All right. So you could have that portfolio. You can have the portfolio of the world's smartest investor just by doing that. Does anybody do it? No. They'll watch some show saying that there's going to be a zombie apocalypse and the dollar's going to go to ashes and it's all going to come unglued and AI is going to kill everybody and doom, 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 doom. Yeah. And then it doesn't happen. And then, 2008, I saw that coming. A broker said to me, look, the credit markets have frozen and the credit market is the main market. It's a senior market, he said. Credit has frozen. Credit is a senior market. And when he said that, I went, oh, poo. And the next day I sold everything. Yeah. And it crashed. And when it crashed, and everyone's go, oh, it's the end of the world. It's the end of the economy. It's the end of capitalism as we know it. I bought back. And I made a lot of money. Yeah. So you've got to be switched on, and you've got to have skills that you've developed over a long period of time. Yeah. Then if I'd read the media ever since then, oh, it's all going to come to an end. It's all doom. Oh no, it can't work. Oh no, shares is going to crash even further. Oh, it's gone up, but it's going to crash tomorrow. Oh no, no, no. Biggest bull market, since I don't know, it's just the biggest rally of all time. Yeah. But if you read the media, it would told you to stay away. And so you stay away. So however many years, 15, 16 years later, you're sat there, you haven't made a penny. All because you've been watching all these doomsters. Yeah. They always say the same thing. You never hear someone that's saying, oh, it's the death of the dollar, but the dollar's going to go up in the next 6 months. Yeah, you never hear that, do you? Funny enough. Yeah. You never hear someone say, oh, stock market's going to crash. Oh, it's still going to crash. Oh, it's still going to crash. Oh, it's going to crash. Ray Dalio. That's all he says. It's all he's been saying for 20 years. Oh, it's all going to crash. Oh, it's all going to melt and die. Funny that for somebody that's an investor. What is he investing? Parachutes? I don't know. But, what is that all about? Well, maybe it's about scaring people, and they think how wise he is, and they give him the money to look after so that it isn't all, shredded. But nonetheless, perma bulls, perma bears, you've got to be able to be bullish when it's going up and bearish when it's going down. Yeah, not bearish all the time. Not bullish all the time. Silver's going to go to $500 an ounce. No, it's not. Yeah. So it's a skill game. Spend your time skilling yourself up and you'll be fine. Yeah. Read the classic books. Yeah. Random walk down Wall Street. Oh, it's not random walk. What are you talking about? No, that's rubbish. That is. Yeah, right. Read some more. Read some more. Yeah. Give me some options. Give me some options. Oh, I've lost all my money. Oh, what happened to me? Why don't you read some books on options and how they really work? It's all there in books. It's all there in books. I mean, there's people in there throwing thousands of dollars worth of their hard-earned money around, and they haven't read any books. And they're only like $10 on Amazon. There they all are. From the greatest financial minds of the last 100 years. There they all are. And how many of your viewers have read them?
What is your take on Bitcoin and what's happening with that?
Well, it's going to go down to somewhere between $40,000 and $30,000 a coin. Well, I mean, it's a 4-year cycle. I keep saying it, and everyone says I'm wrong, and then it's a 4-year cycle. And this time, the 4-year cycle has been elongated by all the nonsense, noise, craziness that we've been seeing care of the three big guys, President Trump, President Xi, and President Putin. And, that is perfect for Bitcoin to remain elevated, because gold is for war, or you could say gold is strategic money. Bitcoin is tactical money. Bitcoin is for flight. Well, it would appear that people are not so in the mood to put in their liquid into Bitcoin so that they can be in a hurry to leave. Yeah. So Bitcoin is under pressure, but it's a 4-year cycle. And, there's a couple of years more, or maybe even, I can't remember, April 2028, I think, is the beginning of the next halvening. So at some point, halvening happens, supply diminishes, demand remains the same, up it goes. And then up it goes, FOMO, up, and up. It gets to the top because it can't go up any further. It starts to fall off. All the FOMO people go, oh no, oh, it's going to happen to me again. Clunk. And you get the crypto winter. And then it goes along the bottom. It's in the chart, like this last time, the time before that, time before that. time before that, time before that. I think there's only one of those that didn't come right back down to where it's going to come down to this time, or where it did last time, or the time before. Just look at 2017. Just look at 2000 and whatever it was, 4 years ago, 2022. There it is. That's the 4-year cycle. You can go backwards in time and see it over and over again. Yeah, and we're on the back nine of that. We're on the back nine of the 4-year cycle. We're probably in the crypto winter now. And what I've been saying all along is 60,000 is the bottom if you're lucky. Good luck with that one. 50,000, highly likely. 40,000 likely. 30,000, you're getting probably near the bottom. Probably is the bottom. It goes under 30,000. You know, it will be, that's a bit harsh. That's a bit more than I expected. So last time round, I was predicting 13,000. It stopped at 15. And, you know, it came down from 65. And I said it would come down to 13. It came down to 15. And it will do the same sort of thing again. It will come down by 75%. So 75% of 120 is 30,000, right? Around 30,000, 30 to 40,000. And, you know, if you know, bad things happen because of that fall, then it will go lower. But I don't think it will. It will be somewhere between 30 and 40. And if there's a fair wind and somebody in some country, all their elite have to do a runner out to the airport quick, it will maybe not go that low. But gold is for war, Bitcoin is for flight. So when you see Bitcoin suddenly go, you know, someone's dropping bombs in about a week. And that's happened in this cycle. And if it goes up like that and then comes down like that, you don't know what didn't happen, but something didn't happen. You know, it's like markets are thermometers for what's really going on. We don't get the news. We don't get the news until 2 weeks after it's happened, but lots of people do. There's plenty of people that get that news. Oh, insider trading. Yeah, there's a lot of that about. So, you know, the people that are in the know will push the price because information flows like honey. It just gets everywhere and it escapes. And before you know it, people are acting on it.
Well, and so in your view, then we're in a crypto winter, but at some point it'll start to go back up again. Do you see it exceeding a new high than where it was at?
I've been saying for a little bit of time that I don't like the fact, from a crypto point of view, that Wall Street has now embraced crypto. Embrace, extend, destroy, right? And, you know, Wall Street is not your friend. Wall Street is not the friend of investors. Wall Street makes its money taking money from you and buying houses in the Hamptons. Yeah, they are the opposition in many of these financial instruments. So the fact that the institutions of Wall Street have finally embraced it, that's not necessarily good. That's like making friends with a serial killer, isn't it? It's probably not the best thing you ever did. So I've got a question mark over Bitcoin because it's just another asset. And now there's Wall Street has got its fangs into it. And, that's kind of not what Bitcoin was meant to be. You know, have I read the Bitcoin white paper? Yeah, a few times. And it's all about not being about Wall Street. It's all about not being part of the American government. It's all about being anti-money. It's all about being libertarian, free spirit, sovereign money, not part of the infrastructure of the state. Well, it's now part of the infrastructure of the state. It's not really, but I mean, you know, it could be. It's getting borderline. China, of course, there you go. They know what they're doing. They banned it and double banned it and triple banned it and quadruple banned it because, you know, states, it is anti-money. It is anti-states. And, you know, at the end of the day, America's not an anarchy. It's got a little bit of an anarchist bone in its rib cage, but not much of one. So it can't have anarchy money, right? It can't really embrace that too much. And of course, stable coins aren't that. And it can't do CBDCs or whatever you want to call them. Can't do that because it can't afford even 1,000% risk of a bunch of North Koreans hacking it. You know, hey, I've written programmable money and I've left a bug in it and all our money's gone. No government can afford to have money that can be hacked. they print it, right? Tunk, 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 tunk. And even then, they put all sorts of things in it to stop people copying it. Well, you've got a blockchain programmable money thing. That's the sort of risk that no government's ever going to take. Not in my lifetime, anyway. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about government programmable money, and do worry about, look, crypto is private sector money. Okay, look into again, read a few books, read the history of private sector money. It's not a happy history for the private sector. The private sector invents money because normally government isn't making enough of it or making the right sort of money, and comes out and starts making it, and the government goes, don't like, no, stop that. And you have to, you make a Michael dollar and see how long it is before the Secret Service come around your house and arrest you. Yeah, they have got various monopolies: monopoly of violence, monopoly of creation of money. Had that monopoly. Don't think they're going to give it up. So it's been embraced. When it was outside the walls of the castle, it had a sort of magic to it. But now it's part of the system. The system will deal with it. Make no mistake, the Democrats won't have any of it. Democrats won't go, oh, we love crypto. Yeah, go ahead and get around our money. Yeah, we say, oh, yeah. No, they won't have it. Democrats won't have it. And probably the Republicans in due course won't have it either. The moment it gets in the way of them manipulating the economic system, which is kind of the point. People would say, hey, gold is good because then you can't print it and all that nonsense, which is not true. And, it will stop governments doing this. No, that's not true either. But nonetheless, that thought, that people want that. And they also want crypto to do that. Well, the people in power, proper power, big boy power, they don't want that. Why would they give that up? No. Stop that. It's naughty.
Yeah, I always enjoy these conversations, Clem, because I tell you, I feel a sense. I just feel better talking to you because you take a practical approach with all this. And I'm going to come back to my conversation with Will. He provides a very practical approach, and it's funny how people were pushing back when I posted the conversation with him, and they're like, "Well, what good is it going to be working within your own system in your own environment if everything's going to be in ashes?" And I'm paraphrasing, but I'm like, okay, if everything's in ashes, then it doesn't matter anyway. Right. But while we're on, if a nuclear bomb's dropping, what can you and I do about it? Nothing.
Look, I said I did a gig with somebody in this zone, and he got so much backlash, he took it down. And you might get it, but let me really make some backlash here. Okay. So people project. If you want to know about somebody, tell him to criticize somebody else, and that criticism can be just reversed, and that will be that person's weaknesses and silliness. Okay, people project. It's a standard psychological thing, right? You see the world through your own lenses, and that's how you judge things. You judge things by your own strengths and own weaknesses, and you'll say things. That person is really, really good at this and really, really good at that because you're good at it, for example. So it's not all bad. So you project. And what happens is when you get in your 40s and you stop being young and healthy, and your skin's no longer like the skin of a baby, and your hair starts to recede and your teeth start bleeding or whatever it is that's going wrong with you, you project that onto the world. And what you see with the terror and the doom-laden attitude about the world from, men mainly, is that they're projecting their own decay on the world. Yeah. And we've all done it. If you think about when you felt really, worried and anxious about the world and what's going to happen to the world, and just imagine that that's actually you. That's actually spot on. And the funny thing is, and our biblical friends out here will enjoy this, the book of Revelations keep getting taken out of the New Testament in history of the Bible because people say, oh, we don't want this in here. What's this all about? No, get rid of it. And St. Augustine got it put back in. This is 1,000 years ago now, when I was first, trading. And St. Augustine said, look, this is not about the apocalypse of the world. It's about the apocalypse of the individual. It's about the apocalypse of the soul. Yeah. It's not about out there. It's about in here. And actually, you can turn that around and see The apocalypse that people are projecting is an apocalypse of the world, but it's actually their own apocalypse they're talking about. It's their end of their self, not the end of the world that they're worrying about, but they're projecting it. So I tell you, if you're 40 and you're starting to get apocalyptic, and it's hilarious when I see it in all these billionaires, it's just hilarious. I go, you made all this money and now you're scared. Oh dear, what a pity. But it's don't confuse your decay, which is unavoidable, yeah, with the decay of the world. The world is not decaying. It's you. Yeah. So you can get over that and enjoy your last 35 years and get on with it and have fun. Yeah. And somebody, one of my viewers on Clem Chambers Alpha, particularly liked my comment, which is, I don't want to die rich. I want to live fat and happy. And I am living fat and happy. And I'm doing it because I'm focusing on the market and the opportunities that it gives me. And it enables me to play in that sandbox, that lovely, lovely sandbox, and enables me to play a skill game, which I've been practicing and training for, a large part of my life. And I've got really good at it. And it enables me to live very fat and very happy. But I can tell you that most people are so terrible at it and so untrained and do so little work and put so little effort into getting good at it that it's really almost an open field for anybody that wants to study and sit there and say, right, I'm going to grind this out. I'm going to try to make 12% a year and then 15% a year and then get up to 20% a year and maybe, just maybe get 25% a year. Maybe in 10 or 15 years of study and putting my back into it, I can make 25% a year. Do you know, if you make 25% a year, in 10 years, you tenfold your money. Tenfold with 25% a year. But you go to most people that watch you say, oh, you can make 25% if you really put your back into it. Oh, that's not enough. I need to make 100% a year. And they wonder why they don't make any money at all.
How much fun are you having with all this, Clem, with the work that you're doing? I mean, since the beginning compared to now? Because I'll tell you, talking to you, it seems like you're having a lot of fun.
Oh, I'm having so much fun. Yeah, I'm having so much fun. I'm about to go jump in a volcano tomorrow in Iceland. I mean, what could be better? I wake up in the morning, I've made a ton of money. I jump in a hot spring in Iceland, jump out of it again, and it's all gone again. What could be more fun? But I mean, people have seen me say silver 5,000, blah, 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 when it wasn't. And there it was. And then I said, get out of that. It's gone up too much. You're mad. It's going down. Down it comes. Well, when you're in phase with the market, I mean, what could be better? I mean, the money's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And you build it up 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 and you build it up. And, it's once you've learned some basic principles, and I talk about them on my Clem Chambers Alpha, it's not that difficult. And you can make it simple and you can keep it simple. You can keep it easy. And then, you can have some heuristics. Oh, I've woken up at 3 a.m. in the morning to check the price of silver. Well, sell then. Yeah. I mean, that's a simple heuristic I use. If I'm going, oh, what's the price? Blah, 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 I should sell. Yeah. And you go, well, why would you do that? It's going to put that. But, I make my returns. I don't care. I don't care if I buy a share, it goes down. Did you know if you buy a share at random, it will go down 4 times out of 5 before it goes up? In fact, even shares that go up are due to go up. If you buy today, 4 times out of 5, it will go below your buy price. Yeah. People go, well, I'd never buy a share if I thought 4 times out of 5 it was going to go down, because they don't actually have the basics understanding of how this game works. But if they did, they'd be in a small elite group. It's like, how many people do you know have a foggiest clue what they're talking about? They don't have a foggiest clue. Not a foggiest. As they say in England, not a Scooby-Doo. And that means your viewers, if they make a conscious decision, read 1 book a month. In 2 years, you'll be ahead of 99% of people that play in the market. Just 1 book a month. How hard is that? You're not going to do it, though, are you? No, you're not. No, you're not going to do it. No, I'm right, but you're not going to do it. And that gives the people that do it, that's what gives them their edge. because it's so uncommon. So many people are gambling, not investing.
Yeah,
And gambling's fun. No, it's not. But people seem to think it is. It's expensive. It's an expensive hobby.
yeah, it was a perfect segue. We talked last time in the beginning of gaming, and now it's like gaming and gambling has become so accessible to everybody. I mean, the gambling is just I can't even believe these online apps where you can bet on political, you can bet on real estate crashing, sports pitches. I mean, just it's unbelievable.
Look, don't let your dopamine run you. Okay? Dopamine, look it up, research it. Just don't let it run you. Yeah. I mean, if you read up on white collar fraud in California, 4 times out of 5, it would be some poor dopamine addict that's hooked on gambling. And he's stealing because he has to get his dopamine fix. Yeah. Don't let dopamine rule your life. Try to avoid that like the plague. Have cold showers. That's the cure for that. No, even I won't do that. But yeah, no, dopamine, very bad. And one of the bad things about all the social media is that they have psychologists working at these places to find ways of brainwashing you. You can look it up. They have clinical psychologists that understand the way that the serotonin and dopamine works, so they can actually optimize the dopamine addiction you'll get from their product. That's why you doom scroll, because it's giving you dopamine, and you get like the cocaine-addled rat. Give me more coke, give me more coke, give me more coke. Boom. Yeah. And that's what they're doing. These sites are they hire people to do it. And the gaming people do it as well, the app gaming people. It's all I come out of that game, not that particular game, but I come out of computer games when they were pure and innocent. And they've developed on to operant conditioning loops. Go look up operant conditioning if you don't know what that is. Don't fall for that one. It's there. Don't worry about the government and CDDCs and all that other stuff. Worry about the people that are working on operant conditioning you with social media, driving you mad. How many people are going mad because of social media? Like loads, right? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I mean, I have to post on X because I want people to come see my videos, but I go there, it's like, it's like skating around a black hole that I could go down into. Oh no, no, danger, warning, Bill Robinson, warning.
Did you see the gaming world? My last question for you. Did you see where it's at today? Did you envision that when you started, that eventually it would get there?
Well, I absolutely did, because I'm one of the OGs of massively multiplayer gaming back in the very early 90s. I ran the third massively multiplayer game ever written, and I actually in Europe I ran the first one, Mud 2, in Europe. I was one of the founders of that whole blooming industry, and I saw it. I didn't see it. Well, it's kind of happened, and it's fine, really. But it's creating a whole generation of people that have been brought up within that environment, which is not necessarily a bad one. But of course, it's like any environment. There's always the scoundrels, if I can put that in a way that's, I really want to say a very rude word, that will try to exploit it to exploit you. I mean, I actually did some research into some of these games, and I thought there must be a limit to how much money they want to take off you. There must be an end. They must say, well, we've taken $1,000 off this guy, and that's enough, really. No, they design them like a casino to take all your money and everything, and they'll burn you and turn you into soap. They have no limit to how much they will predate on you. And that's very dark, very, very dark. And there's an element of that out there, and it's very, very bad. I didn't envision, because I don't think like that. I didn't envision that anybody would do that. And I can see they've done it. And I can see that certain online platforms, and you know who you are doing the same thing. They would consume you. And, as an individual, you have to recognize that, and you have to not go there. You have to fight that. You have to look away, and you have to be in control of it rather than in control of you. And at the end of the day, the basic thing you have to be careful of is your mental health. if this stuff is making you neurotic and nervous and querulous and worried about the end of the world, well, you need to cut yourself off from that, don't you? Because that's the poison. You're never going to get rich by being scared. You're never going to get rich by worrying yourself to death. You're only going to get rich by growing a pair and going on the front foot and get swinging into action. And there's so much opportunity out there. I can't say that enough. Don't let them bring you down.
Do you see a market correction coming for video games, or where do you see it going 20 years from now?
Well, video games are very fragile, very, very fragile things. Very hard business to make any money in. And, when you think about how absolutely all encompassing it has become for the younger generation, certainly, I mean, I don't know where it stops these days. It's probably in the 30s or 40s. I mean, as a pioneer of it in the very early 80s, I thought it was going to be massive, and then it was. And now it's over, it's the main media now. But it's like when cinema was out there, very fragile business. Yeah, I mean, the customer is very, very choosy. And the level of these things that now these days is such an investment. So it's a very fragile business. So, if there's a crash coming, it will be when the NASDAQ and the S&P go into a bubble. And that will be sometime in the next 2 years. And you'll see it. It'll go vertical. You look at the silver chart, look at the Bitcoin chart. It'll do one of them. And then that'll be the time to actually think about a crash coming. But we're not there yet, I don't think. Not there. There's a big move underfoot, though, going back to the market. And people need to bear it in mind. The hyperscalers are going to suck out all the money in the world to build out their AI infrastructure. Okay, and what's going to need to happen, and it probably will, is the government's going to have to pull the print lever, control P, print loads of money, and that's going to generate inflation 5 to 7%. And that's going to be a big thing. If you just sit there and you're economically passive, you're going to get fried. But if you're economically, blimey, it's a plane going over. If you get economically active, you can absolutely cash in on that. Absolutely cash in. It's going to be a world where being economically active is going to pay out big time, and being economically passive, don't be there. Don't be scared. Don't be passive. That's going to not work out well.
Where can people find you, Clem?
Clem Chambers Clem Chambers Alpha on YouTube. I'm just Clem Chambers on Twitter. And I go there and post occasionally. I troll a little bit to get some traffic, like they tell you, and not really. And on Substack, I mean, it's quite funny because I'll do charts on my videos, and people say, "Oh, can you make them go longer? Can you make them go longer?" Well, you can't, no, because if you do that, you don't get any juice from good old YouTube, and that's no good. So you have to go over to Substack and subscribe there, and then you can stare at my charts all day. So, but they're the two places that I do my stuff, and I do something every couple of 3 days. I cover lots of precious metals at the moment, and I'm starting to cover some contrarian in value investing things that are coming along because it's quite interesting. There's quite a lot of interesting stuff going out there, and special situations, which is going to be so many of them. And obviously, copper's going to go ballistic at some point, and I'll be covering that. And oil's going to go ballistic at some point in the year or so's time. I'll be covering all that. So I'll be trying to cover all those boom bubble busts, and there's going to be so many of them coming. Value contrarian investing, diversified portfolios of risk, and precious metals.
Clem, I enjoyed this conversation. Thanks for doing this. And I always feel better talking to you, so I got to have you come on more regularly. So
that's great. That's great. You're going to have a torrent of backlash on your comments. I guarantee it. I hope so, because that means that we did something good.
Absolutely. And I look forward to continuing to follow your work. And I can't wait for our next conversation. Thank you, Clem.
Well, whenever you want me on, give me a shout, Michael. If anything goes through the roof and you want me to talk about it, I'm always available for your show.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Mic drop.